Today we're going to look at how to make a door that hinges from sort of the hinge and edge of the door. So if you're drawing a door from scratch and you're in the object editor, that's where we are right now. You're going to want to draw it so that the hinge part of the door is touching this crosshair in the middle of the scene. That's like the origin or the center point or the pivot of this object. So there's lots of different words in game development that can kind of refer to that. Most scripts that you just add in Big Bang that various people have written, they normally are going to rotate or transform or move the object around its pivot, around this point in space. So if we make our door look like this is the edge it'll rotate from. Okay, I'm in a little random scene that I made here. If we look down here in the featured templates section, so go to templates on your bottom bar, we can see there's an example door here. And if I walk up to it, it opens like that. The thing doing the opening is actually the script called openable gate. Now, if we bring in our own art that we just made, this one here, we'll have to scale it up because it's a very small door right now. And we're just going to copy this script and put it on our door. It opens just as we'd expect. Now, if you have a door that's turning in a wrong way, if it's acting unexpectedly, it may be because that pivot, that center point of the object editor wasn't lined up with where the hinge of the object should be. Let's pretend we wanted to make this mirror into a door, and let's see what would happen if we stuck our door script on here. Do you see that? I mean, it's kind of amusing. But it's probably not actually how we want our door to work. But we can fix this by offsetting the art. So let's hit stop and let's make sure we're on the move tool up here at the top. The move tool will be lined up with where the pivot of your object is. You can see it here. And that's where the door is going to rotate from, where that move tool is. We click on the object that we want to change. Then we open the voxel object component. It'll be this like sort of magenta color. And then we're going to move the offset. In this case, we just need to change the X offset. That's sort of the side to side one on this object. And we're going to move it until the pivot is now at the corner of it where we want it to rotate from, just like how it looks here. Okay, just so you can sort of see that working, let's go back to the game here. So now you can see that it's pivoting from where we want it to, but it's actually not quite right because I don't know if you can really tell, but I'm running into something invisible right now. That's because we moved the visual art, but we didn't move the collision. Collision in a video game is what you actually run into. It's sort of the invisible walls that make up your world. And the collision does not need to match the visual art, but in cases like this, if the solid part of the door is over here, but the visual part of the door is over here, that would be very confusing. So let's fix that. So now go to the box that says collision on your object, and we don't have any sliders to move around collision on the voxel object style collision, so we're going to have to make this something else. So let's just change it to box. We can use the same slider, the X slider, and just slide it until it's lined up with the new art. See the bright blue box there? I know it's a little bit hard to see, the lines are fine. Let's go return to game again. So now I'm not running into anything invisible there. The door's working as intended. So now the last thing I have to do is just line it up with the doorway. And there you go, rotating just like we want it to on that corner pivot. Now, the same thing is true that we just did here on something like a chest lid, right? If you wanted to make a box open, so this is just a random chest object that I've got lying around here. If you see when I dragged out that lid, do you see that its pivot is right here? The box, it doesn't matter where its pivot is because the bottom part isn't going to open, but this lid is going to open. So we want its pivot to be on the edge where the hinge would be, just like with the door. And we can actually use the door script to make this work if we want. Right now, it's going to rotate around the Y axis. That's the up and down axis, this sort of arrow here. But for a chest, we don't want that. We actually want to rotate it probably around I think that's the X axis. So let's just, I'm not like amazing at getting these right the first try, but I think it's going to be the X axis. So let's just try that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I hope that was helpful to you and you know how to sort of adjust your objects to fix your pivots, and you can make all kinds of doors. Have fun making games.